conference today where we're going to be talking about relationship overreach, the new path to leads, references, referrals, and sales. And we've got an amazing panel, and we're looking for our friend Amy, who's trying. I wonder if she's Jessica. You might have to resend that link to her because I don't see her showing up in the attendees list right now. So hopefully we're gonna find where Amy is at. We've got a wonderful panel here with us today, and I'm super excited about it. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. When we start talking about how relationships are so important in how we grow our businesses and how buying has changed everything. So awesome. Amy, you are here. Are you okay? Let me get you allowed to. There you go. Jessica's already got you in. Awesome. There we are. We are here now. Um, so if you put your video on, Amy, I think that will bring you to the forefront.
There
Awesome.
she is.
Yay. Hi, my friend. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I've been in the waiting room for the last 10 minutes. I'm like, what
Yeah,
am I doing?
I don't know how that worked out, but technology has its own little mind sometimes. So I get that. This is such a great panel, you guys. I am stoked for this panel because we've got so much wisdom and expertise and how do we really meet our clients where they are today? What's different about buying in 2026 and what it has been in the past? It's shifting, it's happening quickly. And I have these amazing women who have their fingers on the pulse of it. We've all been really having these. I had a lot of conversations in 2025 with women and what was shifting and changing. I've got a report. I'll share a little bit about that as we get deeper into this. But I think that things have shifted so much, and so I'm so excited to see so many of you here diving in and wanting to see the what's shifting and what's changing. And so I'm Cami Gellner, if you don't know me. I am a business coach for change maker women who helping them raise up their voices and their visibility and grow their businesses in a way that feels really aligned so they're growing a business that they love. I love helping women attract clients into their business, their dream clients. And I've been coaching for a long time. I've been coaching for about 17 years and was a VP of marketing and branding for many, many more years than that, on the flip side of that. So I've been around the business world for a long time and the marketing world for a long time, but it's all different right now. And that's exciting to me because I think things are changing and they're changing for the better. And we're bringing a much more feminine approach into how we're growing our businesses. And this is why I'm so stoked about this panel. We've got an amazing panel here. Let me introduce, well, before we do that, as you guys are logging in, do drop into the chat, say hello, tell us where you're joining us from, where you're, and just a little bit about what you do so we know who's here in the room. And let's start, if you guys will start with that, and I'll start to introduce who's here in the room. So we've got Lauren Shaw. So Lauren is a powerhouse sales expert who has shattered the myth that you have to be pushy to be profitable. Hallelujah. As the co-founder of the Sales Breakthrough Experience, she has personally taken over 2,000 real-world sales calls and closed over $5 million in high-ticket revenue. Lauren teaches women how to master heart-centered selling, helping them drop the scripts, regulate their nervous system, and state their price with zero apology. She doesn't just teach freedom, she lives it. She's running her business while traveling the globe full time for the last 3 years. So she's our nomad that we never know where Lauren is at. She's in New Jersey right now, but she's been in New Mexico, or in, not New Mexico, in Mexico City. She's so it's
Yeah.
always the question of where's Lauren been. So it's always fun to know that. Um,
Thanks for having me, Cami.
yeah, I'm thrilled you're here. Amy Westbrook is a transformational wealth coach who believes that true financial freedom begins from the inside out. Aligning your soul's purpose with practical wealth strategy, Amy discovered that most successful spiritually minded people are following a broken blueprint for financial freedom, one that prioritizes restriction over expansion, fear over trust, and budgets over alignment. We're throwing all of that out the door for sure. As a seven-figure investor who's coached over 1,100 people, Amy helps growth mode women turn income into generational impact while staying true to their values. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you.
And then we have Heather Rosen. Heather is the president of the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs and the co-CEO of Becoming Irresistible, where they help entrepreneurs build, launch, and scale their webinars. Heather believes that a weekly live webinar is the single most leveraged sales activity you can do. I love that. I'm excited to hear more about that. So, who's excited to hear from these women? And if you guys are, um, give us a big exclamation mark in the chat box if you guys are excited to hear from these women. I know I'm excited to hear from these women. And I know there's lots that they can bring to the table here. So I'm going to kick off here with this first question. And it's from your perspective, what are you noticing about the 2026 buyer? Who are your clients who are your clients evaluating where they invest their time, energy, and money right now? Or how are their clients? Why I can't read today. How are your clients evaluating where they invest their time, energy, and money right now? And what has shifted in how you sell and build trust? Lauren, I'm going to kick off with you. So if you'd like to
All
take that one.
right. Sure. Yeah. So I have a couple of things I want to say about this. First off, 2026 buyers don't want to be sold to, right? Think of yourself as a buyer, right? We've gotten very savvy with anything that feels manipulative or icky or any of the NLP tricks that we know a lot of salespeople have used in the past to make the sale. And so in this 2026 economy, like this trust economy, buyers want to feel safe, they want to feel seen, they want to feel like they can trust the integrity of the person that they're going to be spending their resources or their time with. And so that's also why this trust recession that we're in right now is actually really, really good news for high integrity, heart-centered sellers and entrepreneurs, right? Because we're really great at building that trust and building that empathy. But one of the things that I will say, and I think this is important to mention, a lot of us as very like heart-centered, high integrity sellers lead with intuition a lot of the time. And while intuition can be very powerful in sales, it's even more powerful when you have a structure, right, around your sales process so that you have some consistency and know which direction you're going so that you can show up more yourself, more present, and actually lean into the intuition in your sales process. The other thing that I was going to say about, I think the second part of the question was, yeah, how are your clients evaluating where they invest their time, their energy, and their money right now? And how have we shifted our approach in selling and building trust? One of the big things that we've seen with the shift in the economy is that people are really more invested in short-term results, like near-term results. And so a lot of buyers want to invest a smaller amount to get an initial result with a potential, like service provider. So one of the things that we've done and that we've been teaching our clients is like, so we had this bigger 6-month offer, and we actually took the first piece of that offer and we put it first. And instead of charging $5,000 for our clients to come in and start working with us, we're charging $1,000 for the first 4-week experience of working with us, where we're going to get them an amazing result. We're going to get them a transformation and we're going to build a ton of trust with them in 4 weeks. And then they'll have the option to continue working with us as part of the 6-month journey. And that's been working incredibly well for us and for a lot of our clients. It's just something with the psychology of buyers now in the economy that we're living in, wanting those like faster results. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's move to Heather.
Thank you, Cami. Yeah, so I think we're all right? Like the buyer is much more skeptical and exhausted and doesn't isn't they don't want to just invest to invest, right? They're much more discerning about where they're spending their money, but also it used to take 7 to 10 touch points for somebody to get to the now it's like 25 to 32 right in there touch points. And so when we're thinking about that in the way that we're bringing people into our world, what we call entry points into our business, is we're trying to create them now where it's not just like, hey, download this PDF. Hey, like that's the one touch point, but something that they're gonna keep coming back to that continues to build trust, whether that's like an app that we're creating or some kind of thing that they are going to come back to keep checking. they're evaluating whether the community and the thing around it are real people, right? We're so used to seeing like the testimonials. They want social proof that's real. And so when I talk about weekly live webinars, it's part of the reason we do that is so that we're seeing each other face to face. You do have to build that, not just know, like, and trust, seen, heard, and understood, right? Which is part of what Lauren was saying. And so I've stopped, like, we just don't lead with process. I want to be really transparent about what programs actually require of somebody to put into it, and say this might not be the right fit, and it's okay if it is, right? And so giving them that space to make a sales decision without the pressure, even on a webinar.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate it. I think that it feels like, we've got the same themes flowing through here. Amy, why don't you jump in here?
Well, I have some similar things, but I'm going to give my answer like a theme, and it's curation.
Mm.
And I think today's buyer wants a more curated experience, which is interesting because in this AI environment, I mean, you can create a lot of content fast, right? So you can give them a 27-page report, case studies, swipe files, the checklist. It's easy to pile that on. But for the folks listening today, I would just say ask themselves, who are they when they're showing up as the coach, as the expert? Because when you're in your zone of genius, you really you don't need to pile everything on. Your expertise is the value. It's not a quantity issue. So I would just say that that would be a checkpoint for a lot of folks. Um, and I just really think that comes down to the offer. And instead of piling on more, how do you like write out the offer? How do you strip it down? How do you curate the offer? So maybe you're getting them a faster result, I think, like Heather mentioned, and or how do you deepen the result? And I think along the same line of curation is enhancing like certainty with an ecosystem. And I think Lauren touched on this a little bit too, is, what is your ecosystem? And I'm working on this as well. Like, I just want to raise my hand on this one. But, making that ecosystem more cohesive. And so, you give them certainty because you do have a roadmap. They can see it. You have a framework that makes them feel better about investing probably a lot of money into your high ticket offer. And then I'll just echo what they said too about like those micro offers and bringing them into your system. It's giving them that taste. And, I even had a coach challenge me on my micro offers. And, we were kind of brainstorming around those. And we were just talking about, your micro offer, it's your best stuff. And a lot of people are still gatekeeping, and that's a problem. Um, and I think the point is you want your $20,000 mastermind client taking notes on your free webinar. I was like, when she said that, I was like, wow, that landed. you know? So anyway, I just think that we're in a time right now where we just need to experiment with those micro offers, like play around with them, see what's resonating, what's helping your clients, and ask for feedback. I mean, our egos kind of get in the way sometime. Is this helpful? What would have been more helpful? So I don't know this was kind of a big question. My mind was racing, but those are really the things is like curate and create that ecosystem to build trust.
I love that, Amy. And I'm a big believer in that ecosystem. And it's like creating that ecosystem that gets people deeper into your
Mhm.
work. And I'll touch base on that as we get deeper into this call today. But so one of the things I did last year was I went out and, well, I did some formal research with probably about 35 women, I think it was. Maybe it's a little bit more than that, 40 women. And And then I also have conversations on a day-to-day basis with women entrepreneurs, whether they're on my podcast, they're my clients, they're the people I'm meeting. And so over the course of last year, I spoke to hundreds of women. And I put together a report last year that's called the Women Entrepreneurs Insight Report. And just asking them the question, what was shifting? What was changing? And everybody was like, yep, things are different. And so we were diving into it. And several things that came down, and we've hit on them. Like we've hit on several of these that, the sales cycles have slowed down because people are they're taking more time. But when they are going out and doing that deeper research, like Heather mentioned, and they're following you and they're tracking you, by the time they get to that buying decision, they're actually ready to make a quick decision because they're like, I know that you're my person because they've been listening to you. So, one of the things I always say is look for ways that you can create binge content for yourself. Like, how can people go binge on you and get to those many hours of content consumption? And webinars are a great way to do that, master classes, however you're doing that. It's like, where are you putting long form content out there? And I think that helps build that trust in you. It's like really starting to build that trust. Another thing that I learned in that research was that clients are they're much more intentional and they're craving depth in their content and they're craving those outcomes that Lauren talked about. And so they're not looking for these surface level promises. They're skeptical of flashy tactics, which, we've seen that. And so they really want the truth behind that. They want the truth of, they want to see the testimonials. They want to see that, what has come out of the work that you've done with clients. They want the credibility. So bringing your authority to the table is really important. Build up your authority comes from your whole lifetime of experiences. Bring that authority to the table, and let people see what you are able to bring to them. Um, the trust piece came up over and over again, and when I asked them, what's the containers that you're really looking for? And this was really interesting. They were looking for very high touch and intimate connections. So they don't want a, 200-person group. They want an intimate community where they can have connection with a group of people and grow and build that way. They were looking for that wisdom, not a lot of formulas. They want people to go deep into the strategy with them. They don't want to be like, just go follow this formula. They're looking for the way that you can build true strategy in your business. Um, they wanted to be witnessed and challenged and celebrated. Those were just some of the different things that were there. So they had this real hunger for community and connection when they were looking for spaces. The visibility piece definitely shows up, and I think that's an important part of we have to be visible. How are we getting visible so that people can find us? And then the question is, how do we take them deeper into our work once we've been visible? So those are some of the things that I learned from that report. Jessica dropped the link into the report there. And the other piece of this, we've had the conversation about those early entry points that are, that people can buy into at a lower cost. What I also heard that many of the women that I spoke with last year were investing in higher dollar pieces. And that was one of the things that I was really curious about because I wanted to hear what the market was saying. And I heard over and over again women that were investing at higher levels. And I can tell you, even in my own business, I closed my fourth quarter closed so strong last year, and it was in higher end. So it's like the people are there, but you have to be there connecting and nurturing and loving on them to open up the door to that. So that's some of the things that I learned in that report. You can download that report that Jessica just dropped in there if you're interested in it. So, the next question I want to bring here is, what does aligned high integrity selling look like in today's environment? How do you invite someone to invest in working with you in a way that feels grounded, confident, and clear? Um, I'm going to go the opposite direction. So, Amy, I think you ended us last time. So, Amy, why don't you kick us off?
Okay. Well, and I just want to say that I'm a coach. I'm not a sales expert. I don't teach sales. So I'm appreciating this conversation as well. Um, but I want to say, and I'm sort of putting myself in the buyer's shoes. I think it was Lauren that said, or somebody said, I don't want to be sold to, I don't want a script. And just kind of a funny story, I was, looking to purchase some YouTube coaching. And it's funny because this guy was, I mean, you could tell he was taking me through the script, and I would answer a question and then he would turn around and ask me the question because it was next in the script. And I don't know, it just felt so gross. So anyway, I'm also a consumer of this and I'm looking at how I want to be sold to. So the things that, came up are um, be willing to say, I'm not the right fit right now. I'm later in the process, but I have a trusted person that I can send you to. So develop your referral base because that can build your credibility. I would say to also, and this is like more practical, this is less coachy. Um, let them read your contract before they sign anything, before they pay. And this is why I think that's important because I've had some experiences where you invest in something very high ticket, and then you get this contract that basically says, here's 47 pages that say that you have no rights and that I can change the program any way I want. If I can't deliver it for any reason, too bad, you're out the money, screw you. And I'm like, wow, that's not how I saw this relationship starting. So I love it when a contract speaks more about like the co-creation that you're going to have together. And so your contract can also show them your personality. So anyway, I know that's kind of like a nitpicky thing, but I knew that we had some sales experts here. So I was just going to take it from that spot of what do I like to see when I'm starting a relationship with a new coach? So
I
anyway,
love that. I love that,
yeah.
Amy. I love because I think there's been some bad circumstances that have happened in the industry, obviously, over the
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
And to us, all of us really wanting to stand in integrity is so important. So showing up for our clients and being with our clients is so important. I love that you took it from that perspective. How about you, Heather?
So I, for me, for with selling for with integrity, it really comes from selling from a place of service. And so I'm really not looking for the yes when I'm having the conversation. What I'm looking for is it the right fit for them? Like, can it actually help them? And if it can actually help them, then I'm happy to say, yeah, we can actually help you really well. And, then that you stand confidently behind your price because you know they're going to benefit from it. And there's no like, I'm not attached to whether they say yes or no. I'm just trying to help them find the best solution for them. And like Amy said, if I'm not the best solution for them, I'm happy to say, I'm not the right person for you right now. Maybe I am later in the process, or maybe I just know that with, if what I'm focusing on, let's say, is the weekly live webinar, if what you're selling doesn't sell well that way, or you haven't sold it before and you need to do some one-on-one sales calls for a while to get it figured out, like maybe that's not the right fit for you right now. And so I'm not ever attached to, like, I'm not even trying to get the yes. I'm just trying to help them find something that's going to help them and figure out what is right for them. It's a very different energy that comes across in the conversation. And so I'm just inviting them into a relationship. Um, and so it's really, really grounded in just what they need. Um,
Awesome. I love that, Heather. And I think that's so important because if we're trying to push something down somebody's throat, they know it. And it doesn't end up working well. If that happens, the client relationship is never strong. And you don't want that. You want strong relationships. Lauren, how about you? You're muted.
All right. I was going to say, I love what you said, Heather, and I want to expand on that a little bit as well, because I also think it's really important. So, when I first learned sales, and I took, very high level sales training, I had this sales trainer who said, write the word clarity really big at the top of your sales script. And he said, your only job on the call is to get clarity for them and to get clarity for yourself. And so for us as entrepreneurs who are often like taking our own sales calls and having these sales conversations, I think it's really important, like exactly what Heather was saying, is that we are, we're coming from a place of service, like detaching from the outcome because we truly want the best for, for this person. But also, it's important for us to protect our energy as service providers as well and make sure we're really clear that this person is a great fit to work with us, right? Because we all have intuition and we've probably had the experiences, like I know I can speak to this, where we didn't follow our intuition and there were red flags and we let the person into our world, into our community, and it ended up costing us a lot of our energy and our time, our mental bandwidth, etc. And so high integrity selling, I really see it as this like two sides of the same coin. And the other part of that is that I like to think of like when you're in a sales conversation, you're sitting on the same side of the table as the person, right? You're partnering with them. You're on their side, you're on their team, you're not sitting across the table opposed. And that's why one of the things that we've done with sales is we've thrown all of the icky language, like the old aggressive sales language, totally in the trash. We don't handle objections. We're not handling someone. We navigate concerns, right? We don't pitch someone. We bridge, right, from the challenges they have to the solution that we can help them with. We don't price drop. We have an invitation, and you can just feel the shift energetically and all of that. And when we teach our clients that, it's like, oh, they can exhale, they can relax. Oh, sales all of a sudden doesn't feel so icky, right? Um, and then the other thing I think I'll round that out with, though, is that I think it is really important to show up in leadership in any sales conversation because you are the guide that this person is there to handle. And your sales conversation is their first opportunity at seeing what it would be like to work with you. And so treating it as such and always, always, always ending the call with a plan.
Oh, that's a good closing right piece right there. Good mic drop one, right?
Boom.
Yeah, and so I love our words do matter, right? The words we use matter so much. I changed my language for my Ignite conference to an invitation from an offer years ago because I felt like I'm not there and I never throw up. This is not for you if because that just didn't resonate for me. It felt too formulaic. And so throwing out those kind of words has been as important to me as well. It's like, what do I really want? When I'm having a conversation with someone, I want that to be a relationship. And some of the things that I have done over the years has been to really create what I call a know, love, and trust marketing ecosystem. And that changes up your sales conversation because and I chose love on purpose because I want to be in love with the people who are coming into my community and and vice versa. And so like using ways from a marketing perspective, I always like to look at it like what am I doing to take people deeper into my work? So I do webinars every other month. I do these roundtables every other month. I look for ways that people can get deeper into my world and get to, it's I'm not there, with the big heavy push of, you need to buy from me today. I am there with I want to build a relationship. I want to know the people. So I'm really going into it very intentionally. And as part of that, how do I stay in touch with the people who are coming into my communities? Because that's the other thing is so often people come into our community, we go speak on a stage, and then they see us that one time and they never hear from us again. So how do we stay in connection with people like that? So that's one of the things that I always am looking, how can we enhance the way we stay in touch and build relationships with the people who do come into our world? Because that's where, when I think about relationship over reach, that's where we put our effort is into the relationships. How do we build deeper relationships with people? And, yes, we need to be visible and go out and show people, be out where people can find us. But once they're there, it's like, how do we take them even more deeply into our world? And and then it's because when they get to the point where they're ready to work with you, they're calling you and saying, I'm ready to work with you now versus the heavy lift. And and the old sales tactics. I mean, those old sales tactics, that languaging just is out of people don't want that anymore. So that's what I have on that. We've got lots of questions from you guys. And um, so I try to bucket them into some categories. And this first one is, how do you create trust and credibility with new targets and relationships? I'm going to add on that. That was from Amy. Another person said, what helps someone move from being interested in your work to truly trusting you? So this is all filling into that trust piece, right? How I would love to learn more about maintaining relationships with business prospects and what's the best way to follow up without being pushy. So that's it's like this person has come into our world, and how are you going to keep building trust and building that relationship and maintaining that relationship? So Heather, I'll kick off with you on this one.
Um, so when I talk about like what's the best way to follow up, it goes back to something Lauren said when she said like end the call with an action. So if we're still in a space of getting to know one another, building the relationship, that action for me is always setting the next conversation.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And so I feel like that makes it where we're following up without doing the pushy follow-up, right? We've just set a time to reconnect again
Yeah.
and have that conversation. Um,
Awesome.
yeah.
Hey, thank you. How about you, Lauren or Amy? Either one of you can
Yeah,
jump in on that
I
one.
can go off what Heather was just saying. It's like permission based follow up, right? So if you always set a plan at the end, like you are getting permission, even if they don't want it to be another call, then you say, okay, would you prefer text or email? Great. Like how long do you feel like you need to look into your finances or make that decision? Oh, until Thursday? Okay, great. How about we schedule a time for Friday afternoon at 12 p.m.? It's like so you're basically getting permission every step of the way, and then you do what you say you're going to do and you follow up exactly at that time. Um, the other thing, I just have to say this because we're very deep in the AI space, and we have developed a sales coach GPT that's highly trained on, like, we have one for our business, our clients all have one for their businesses, and we always take the transcripts of the conversations and we get to see, oh, where did we miss an opportunity in the conversation? Because we're all human, and there's a very good chance something went right over our head, not because we weren't paying attention, but just because we're probably on a 30 or 45 or even 60-minute call and we just tend to miss things. Or there might be subtle cues that we have as humans have, that could have been the thing that is preventing them from saying yes. And maybe you didn't like get to the heart of that or, go deeper into the conversation to figure that out. And so AI is phenomenal at recognizing those missed opportunities and then helping you to create a follow-up strategy and follow-up email where we're addressing those things that actually need to be addressed in order for the sale to move forward. And so, yeah, if you haven't tried that yet, it's an incredibly powerful. I could talk about that like all day long and the
And it's
power behind
awesome, though.
it.
It's awesome to be able to fine tune our skill sets, right? And I think that's, we're
Yes.
not doing our clients a favor. And then this came through in some of the
Yep.
questions that came in. If we let our clients like kind of off, like just too easily fall away without actually showing up for them, we lose the opportunity to support them the way they want to be supported.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe I'll jump in there
Yeah,
too. And
totally.
this is where I think showing that you truly are invested in your client. And yes, maybe you didn't get the sale that day, but I'm thinking of an example where a client really likes this particular architect. And I came across some information on that architect and I just sent it to her and said, hey, gosh, I was thinking about you. I mean, I wouldn't have known who this person was a couple of months ago. Thank you for introducing me. And so it was a connection point that said, this has nothing to do with sales.
Yeah.
I heard you when you were talking about your dreams. And this is related to that. I don't know. I think it doesn't, there's so much formality
Yeah.
around our work. And what we're really looking for is, I think, more that informal. Hey, I was thinking about you, just checking in with you that day. And I do love the idea of planning that next follow up. It does add that structure around it. And then it's not weird. It's expected. And it shows that, as a coach, I can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It's me
Yeah.
doing my job. So I don't know. I love the planning part of it, but I also love the informal part of it as well.
Yeah, I think that's really important. The more we can just be in normal language
Mhm.
versus into something that is, that's been scripted and, like taking us down this pathway. I think the more we can just be in normal language with people, they feel that connection at a deeper level. Um, okay. Um, where do I want to go here? This is kind of building off of that. Building authentic connection is, what about building authentic connection that is mutually beneficial? We had several people, we had Becky and Gwen and Jenny and Mandy all ask about this. And it's, what's the best way to discern time and effort when building relationships and referrals that are meaningful but also mutually beneficial as opposed to spending too much time on something that's not worthwhile overall? Lauren, do you want to kick off on that?
Yeah, I think that is a phenomenal question because I've asked myself this question often as I'm in, several female network, like business networking groups. And when we first started our business several years ago, we went in and we just took all the coffee chats and we were meeting all these people and there was all these potential opportunities to collaborate and do different things with. But I think it is really important to have a level of discernment to be very clear. And obviously, we're talking in the context of, like a client and the service provider. But I think it's clear to have a very structured, like, what are your goals? So when we have clarity around the goals and beginning with the end in mind, then we can make better decisions like earlier in the process about where to spend our time and our energy. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's good.
that,
Um,
yeah.
Heather, how
I,
about you? Oh, go ahead, Amy.
oh, well, okay. So I was going to say too, I make it easy for them. Like if I want somebody to
Yeah,
refer me, give them the language. Just make it
yeah,
easy. Like don't make people guess what I do or the people that I work with. And I even, tried something in my networking groups. I created, I guess it's like a questionnaire, and it was like called "How do I refer you?" Help me get clear on how to refer you.
yeah.
And it was reciprocal. Well, that's cool. How do I refer you? So again, it's a conversation, um, but let's not overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I like that. Heather?
Yeah, I think we try to create all of these like systems for referrals, and the best ones happen when they're a little bit more organic, right? And so, like Amy said, though, if somebody can't explain what they do clearly, how can they expect somebody else to explain what they do clearly?
Yeah.
And they only know usually one small piece of what you do. And so there's so many other nuances in there that what Amy said makes a lot of sense, right? Like let them know who are your best clients, how do you work best with people, and how is the best way for them to help you. And you don't have, it doesn't have to be all the things you do all at one time.
Yeah,
Uh, so
yeah. I think that anytime that we can be very organic in our connections and like we know when we resonate with someone, and we're like we lean into each other like, oh my gosh, we need to, I love what you do. I mean, I've said this to Lauren this year. I've said, Lauren, I love what you do. And I've said it to Amy as well. And Heather, I need to say it to you too. So but that's part of it. It's like I fall in love with what other people's work is and go, oh my gosh, I believe in what your work is. How can we, how can we collaborate together? How can we create something together? And this is, when I started doing roundtables, this was one of my favorite things about roundtables is it is a collaboration, and it's a way that we can come together and bring all this expertise together, and it benefits everybody in all of our communities because there's just so much wisdom that comes from it. And so when I start thinking about like who do I want to partner with and collaborate with, it's like who are the people that are going to, feel the same way about my work, that feels the same way about the way I feel about their work, and then, that we can lift each other up. And that to me is good collaboration. And it doesn't always happen. I mean, it's like you have to make the effort. You have to say, and you can come up with the ideas and you can say these are ways that we can collaborate. But that's some of the ways that I like to look at it is through that lens. Here's another question, and I love this. So this is Sarah. She's talking about how to use tools like Sales Navigator and LinkedIn in a way that feels genuinely relationship first, not transactional, and actually converts into meaningful conversations. I can tell you, I actually don't use Sales Navigator. I use warm contacts on LinkedIn, and that's the way I to do it. But I don't know if you guys have any other experiences in using Sales Navigator that way.
Nope.
No.
Don't
And I
really.
get it. I don't like those kind of conversations where it feels told. I mean, I had one this morning. I'm like, why are you selling to me? You don't even know who I am. And that's an instant turnoff. I will
Yeah.
use LinkedIn direct messages, and I will say this to direct, to like, so any of you on this call might get a message from me that says, hey, I'm doing a webinar next week. Would you be interested? And it's on this. Would you be interested in information on it? And I might ask that and build a relationship there or know deeper into like tell me more about your work and get a conversation going with people. That's how I use DMs. But I don't use Navigator. Do you anybody else use DMs?
Well, and I just want to answer Natalia's question here real fast because she's asking what warm contacts are. And
Okay,
this is how I use LinkedIn. If I meet somebody at a networking event, we kind of hit it off. I feel like there could be something there, whether it's collaboration or coaching. And so I will reach out to them on LinkedIn and just send them a message. Hey, it was great to meet you. And so now we are professionally connected on LinkedIn, but it's not a cold outreach. And so that's what a warm contact is.
yeah. And Sarah's got, I mean, this was her question. She says, I work with corporate professionals and decision makers. So LinkedIn is where my people are. And I'd all day long be asking you, Sarah, where can you make the connections in person or through a connection, somebody, introducing you to them warmly, versus a cold connection. Because I think so many of the cold connections on LinkedIn just get turned off. So, I don't know. Heather, or Lauren, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Just say I kind of use LinkedIn sometimes in warm outreach with like I want to be a giver. And so I want to give so a lot of times I'll look like if there's somebody that I think is interesting, I'll look through their work and then find out like, hey, can I quote you on some piece of their work to my audience or to my community or um and
There
then
you go.
that opens the conversation to
Yeah,
where now
yeah,
I can get to know them better, but I just want something that allows me to give that opens the conversation.
love that. Lauren, do you have anything else?
We're not huge on LinkedIn, so I don't think I have anything like extra valuable
Okay.
from what Heather and Amy already shared. Yeah.
Okay. I have one more from Hillary, and I tried to batch everybody else's into those other questions, so hopefully we covered them. But this is from Hillary, and she says, I'd like a stronger crystal ball on skills to know the best place to share her energy. And I think she's talking about getting on stages and like, where's the best place to share her? And how do you know what's the best place to share your energy? Lauren, do you want to just hit on that one real quick?
Well, one of the things I would ask you is where do you feel lit up?
Yeah.
Like, where do you find joy with sharing your passion and the work that you do? And maybe it's a little bit of fear as well, because sometimes we want to push ourselves outside of that comfort zone so that we can grow. Like for me, for example, like I don't find a ton of joy in like promoting on LinkedIn. Like that's just my
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
I actually like would prefer to sit in a virtual room in front of 100 or 200 people and share like skills and share knowledge and wisdom. It's a little bit scary for me to get up on front in a big stage in front of people in person, but guess what? I do it anyway because I like to push myself outside of my comfort zone, and I know that at the end of that, like I'll feel really freaking proud of myself. So it's just I just like to ask myself, and I like to stay authentic and truthful to, what feels right for
Awesome.
me.
Awesome.
Can I
Heather
just
or
say
Amy? Go
too,
ahead, Amy. Yeah.
it's just also what's on the other side of the crystal ball. So maybe it's not the
Yeah.
what, it's not the do I go on a podcast or do I reach out here? To me, it's kind of that like beyond that, who am I reaching? Because I can be on a stage in front of 500 people, 1,000 people, and I can kill it. And if they're not my people, I
Yeah.
just wasted my time.
Yeah.
And so
A
I
great
think
point.
we need to be more discerning because it feels good when, a podcast reaches out and they're like, "Hey, do you want to, come on, have a chat?" Yes, maybe. You
Yeah.
just have to make sure that it's the right opportunity, because I'm very protective of my energy. And so I do want to, have these conversations, but I want to have the conversations with people that I can help.
Yes, protect your energy. Highly, highly raise my hand on that one because that's what makes it's our energy that we have is what makes people attract into us, right? That's the how we're showing up. All of that is so important. Um, um, Discernment is the word. Awesome, Hillary. Heather, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I'm just going to echo what Amy just said because it's always about who I'm talking to every time. Like, are they people who whether they don't necessarily have to be direct, like possible clients, but are they people who are going to resonate with me and back and forth? Or I run a networking association for women. For me to go talk to a room full of men probably isn't the best
Yeah.
use of my time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And Sherry just dropped in, but how do you know without the conversation that you can help them? I mean, all day long, you've got to just ask the questions. Open up the conversation, learn more about, the community that you're talking about or the person that you're talking about before you can know that. I mean, you have to have the conversation. And that's the whole point. I always say that conversations create. The more conversations you can have on a day-to-day basis, I think is an important something for us to look at is like how many conversations are you having? And in fact, because we're gonna move into this final question, which is, for the women listening who want their businesses to grow this year, what's one shift they could make in their next 60 to 90 days that will strengthen how they attract and convert clients in this new landscape? Um, that's the final question I've got for you both, for all three of you, and then let everyone know how people can connect with you as well. So if you could, Heather, do you want to kick us off?
I would say for this one, it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about and what Sherry was just asking about, like, how do you know? And it's get really, really clear on who you like working with, who you love the most audience wise, and only work like just talk to those people. Um, I think that's one shift as far as getting really specific, not from a general position, but look at who your audience really is, because then it makes it so much easier to find opportunities for collaboration, opportunities for speaking, opportunities for, guesting on a podcast. All of those things become so much easier when you know who, not just who can you help, who do you really like to help.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sherry, we can continue this conversation and I know that this is like how do you go even more deeply? So I'll reach out to you and help continue this off with you or help continue that conversation with you just because we've got a time that we're running up against here. Um, Amy, do you want to share this on this one?
I'll say, we're talking about visibility too. I mean, you still have to get eyes on you and you do have to stand out. You have to be the person that somebody wants to look at. And to that, I think it means, probably saying some things that some people wouldn't agree with. Like you're going to repel some people, and that's okay. But it also, I think, means pushing. I'm going to say pushing. I know we said don't push, but just listen, hear me out here. Um, push them to be the best, most highest version of themselves. I'm pushing them in a way that's going to support them. And so, how that kind of translates into the sale is I need to help people find their agency inside of that buying decision. Because if we think about it, I mean, I'm a wealth coach, so like I'm talking money, right? I know that there's other people in their head having that conversation. Like we are not the only two people in the room. And just refocusing and challenging people to find that agency, find the bigger picture, focus on that impact. Um, that's how we help them make a decision that is integrity or integral with who they are. And who they want to be. And that's our job is to focus on that who you want to be. I'm not your best friend. It's not about like what happened last week and oh girl, you poor thing. I mean, it's really about moving them and holding them to a higher standard. And that's not always easy. Like sometimes you have to push a little to get somebody there. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to use that push analogy. I hope
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay. And it's, I even see it as a holding, right? Like you're holding them in a space and helping them through whatever they're going through. So whatever this is, and it's that support, they can choose say yes or no to it.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like that is our job as you know, as we're showing up to support our people, is to support them. And you know, and get into like the other messages that are up there, the other voices that are in their heads and help them move through that so that there is the breakthrough on the other side. Whether they work with us or not, that is our role to help them break through to it. So I love that, Amy. Um, oh, and where can people find you?
Oh, sorry, amywestbrook.com. You can go to my website and all of my social channels are live the capital life.
Awesome. 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 Lauren.
All right. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to answering this question.
Yeah.
Um, in business and in life, there's like the energetic side of everything that we do, and then there's the strategic side of everything that we do. And when we work with our clients, the very first thing we do is we look at the energetic side because no matter how much strategy and structure you place on things, if the root of how you're perceiving your business and your world and your marketing and your sales, if there is some kind of like cognitive dissonance or internal resistance that's going on in your mind, right? Like then you're going to struggle more to have success with your business, the structure that you're using. And so we want to work on that energy first. And so we've actually created a tool called the Quantum Breakthrough GPT, where our
Which is very
clients
good,
just
by
say,
the way.
yeah,
I'm
and
just gonna,
I'll share it with everyone in the chat so you can try it yourselves. And so we have our clients share, like, what is the story where you're feeling stuck in your business around selling or around your visibility or around your marketing? And you just, talk to text and tell it how you're feeling. And it looks beneath the words to see the subconscious patterns that are playing out over and over in your mind that are actually affecting how are you showing up to sales? Because, for example, if you subconsciously hate selling because it feels icky, guess what? You're subconsciously avoiding getting more sales calls booked, right? So there's these things that can be happening beneath the surface that if we can reframe it, can help you see how something that you thought was your weakness is actually your superpower. Then you go and you apply the strategies. Guess what? You're going to have way better results way faster. And it's even fascinating because our clients, and I know Suze is here, she could speak to this. Um, when they use the and shift the energy first, all of a sudden it's like the floodgates open. And it's like,
Mm.
how is this even happening? Like everything is energy. Energy in business is also really important to the strategy.
yeah.
So
So it's a
I think
great
that's
tool.
important. Yeah.
I've done it, my clients have done it, and they all raved about it. So you guys take advantage of that. That's a great free gift for you guys. So it's a really great one. The thing that I'll add for if the thing that you can do in the next 60 90 days is to pay attention to how you've got people coming into your business every day. I bet if you go out to your socials, you've had people that are wanting to connect with you. You know, you've gone to a networking event, you've been on a stage, you've been on a podcast. You've got new people coming into your world every day. And what if you really committed to yourself to connecting more deeply with the people that come into your community? Look for the people that you can look at their LinkedIn profiles, you can look at what they do and determine whether they're a good fit for you or not. And if they are, find a way to go deeper in that relationship and start to just build relationships. Look for ways that you can collaborate. The more that you create that kind of relationship and community and connection and collaboration, that's where your business really starts to grow because it becomes this very organic way of teaching or not of connecting, not teaching. And so this organic way of connecting. And so when you think of that, that's the one thing I would say for the next 60 to 90 days. If you committed to making daily contacts with people that you have met somewhere along the way, you get to decide what that number looks like and do it in a way that just is truly honest and connected, right? It's not It's not like a automated thing. It is not an AI thing. It is outreach that you're having conversations with people. So that's what I would say to that. And then create, I'm going to be teaching a class in April on April 22nd called The Rhythm of Client Attraction: How Women Build Consistent Revenue Through Relationships, Community, and Visibility. I'm going to do this class in April, and this I'm going to teach how I've built my know, love, and trust marketing ecosystem. I'm going to talk about how you can build that sales process that helps people come into your business, and how do you stay in touch with people. So I'll be sharing all of that in that webinar on April 22nd, and I think Jessica will drop that into the. There you go, you got that there. And then if you want some help, you want to go more deeply on any of this, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I can do a prosperity audit with you, where we actually dive into your business and look at the different pillars of your business and where you want to tweak things to really enhance how you're attracting more clients into your business. So the prosperity audit is there's an application for, or there's actually a link to my calendar. There's not an application. And so you've got those two links there, and would love to do that with any of you and go deeper into your businesses and really help you turn that dial up on how you're attracting clients in it. I am so grateful for this panel. What an amazing panel you guys were. You brought so much wisdom. I know you guys got so much out of it. Um, you guys connect with these wonderful women, be in their community. They have so much to offer. And thank you all for joining us today. And especially thank you to the panel. I really appreciate all three of you.
Thank you. That was fun.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.